Hey, welcome to Socialism for All. Today's date is September 10, 2021. Last week, I posted the first half of my comments on a video by another channel called Reich-Wing Watch. The title of the video is The Jimmy Dore Deception. And basically, I had planned today to do another sort of blow by blow, watching the video, pausing it, making some comments. Unfortunately, I just finished doing that. And I was tearing my hair out because the video, honestly, just is not really very good, and it's not really worth posting. I did want to at least put something up because I just spent like an hour and a half doing that. And I also had posted on Twitter that I was going to be posting it. So I wanted to at least do something to that effect for people who are interested. So anyway, where part 2 picks up in the video, they do a little bit more about condemning Jimmy for doing Force the Vote, which I happen to agree with, because really, if you let the squad get away with doing nothing and just getting assimilated into the Democratic Party, that's really not good for anyone. So how do you build the movement? You agitate. How do you agitate? In the legislature, you do it by doing something, not nothing. So anyway, we covered that pretty well in the other thing. I was disappointed to see nobody that I particularly hold in high regard, but Michael Brooks, now deceased. Again, I never really watched his show. I had heard, I guess, from some people on the soft left that he was kind of okay on some issues. He was making the same bullshit Democratic Party talking points that anyone in the Democratic Party would be making about Force the Vote. So I guess that's who Michael Brooks was. But really from that point, it kind of just goes on. It makes really only 2 other points as far as I'm, scanning through the video here. It makes the point that Steph Zamorano wound up contributing $1,000 to an anti-Medicare for All Republican candidate. Now that's interesting, but they literally mention it for 10 seconds in passing. Overall, this video was excruciating to watch because just style-wise, it does spooky music in the background, and it doesn't clearly state its premises. It just stitches together lots of other people's videos. And, when you're trying to be persuasive, what you want to do is state your premise, then list supporting evidence, then address possible counterarguments and explain why they're less compelling than your arguments. That's basically it. All right? This really didn't do that. It led you on to sort of make your own speculative conclusions about what they're trying to say in the video. That's not helpful. That's not helpful to the viewer. So anyway, I wound up being really frustrated by that. The other thing is, like, the last half an hour of the video is about Tulsi Gabbard. So as most of us know, Jimmy Dore supported Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I thought at the time, as I'm sure many other people did, this was another thing that, I started drifting further away from Jimmy Dore. It seemed like he was just so mad at Bernie, understandable in a way, that he wound up supporting this other, like, arguably equally bad or even worse candidate, who ultimately got 1% of the vote in the primary or less and dropped out after the second. I think she dropped out after the New Hampshire primary, I think. I mean, it was inconsequential that Jimmy Dore supported Tulsi Gabbard. So, like, whatever. It went on about Tulsi Gabbard for like a half an hour. Now, this would have been interesting, I think, if the title of the video had been The Tulsi Gabbard Deception rather than The Jimmy Dore Deception. I don't think Jimmy Dore's support for her was very deep. I think it was pretty shallow. I think it was a reflection of being mad at Bernie Sanders for fucking us over, but also not going on Jimmy's show. Fine. Like, whatever. It is what it is. I think Jimmy Dore is kind of a vain LA type of guy. Whatever. Like, it is what it is. I don't think those are particularly virtues, but just, noted, moving on. It uses like a 10-second clip of Jimmy being like, I like her foreign policy. I think it's very clear. Bernie's is, not good. And it isn't good. Nobody in the Democratic Party, with the possible exception of like Barbara Lee or somebody, nobody has good foreign policy in the Democratic Party. Name me somebody who does. I mean, it's a major problem. So, yeah, it's correct. Bernie doesn't have a great foreign policy, to say the very least. But, Tulsi also supports the war on terror, which we know is just a cover for the U.S. invading wherever they want to. She does seem to be anti-Muslim. Again, it's par for the course with the U.S. government. Jimmy doesn't, in my opinion, particularly stand out over many others in that case. But yeah, I don't support it. You know what I mean? But the video, it was just like going on at such length about Tulsi Gabbard. I was just like, but wait a minute. Aren't you the person who made this video a Democrat? Like, your party is terrible. Where do you get... So that's what I wound up really thinking about the most. And Jimmy Dore just became like a total afterthought because to me, the big thing where I was just like, no more Jimmy Dore for me was the Boogaloo Boy incident. That was straight up bullshit. I know Jimmy had been falling for every right-wing populist trick in the book. And to me, it did seem like, here's a guy who doesn't know theory and is, not a Republican, gets pissed at the Democrats, starts floating around in this sort of green libertarian space of, populism, won't go far left, won't become Marxist, which is the obviously correct thing to do. So he winds up floating around in that sort of toxic backwater. And I've been there. I know you need to keep moving left from there. So it's, in a way not surprising. He's like, oh, Tulsi Gabbard. Now, his audience even wasn't real big on the Tulsi Gabbard thing, And he took some criticism on that. The Boogaloo Boy thing, though, it was like, dude, you just picked up a libertarian militia and had a fucking infomercial for them. Now, what the video goes into about Tulsi Gabbard is there's probably a lot of people don't know about Tulsi Gabbard that is pretty bad. Particularly in relation to, support for Modi in India. We have done audiobooks here on the channel from an Indian Maoist, Anuradha Gandhi, who talked about the fascism of the BJP. And, fair enough. Do I think Jimmy Dore knew that? Which, again, the video is called The Jimmy Dore Deception. I don't know, but I didn't see any clips in there to that effect. So I think at most, what you can say conclusively is he made a bad mistake there. Not that he definitely knew that and pushed it anyway. And I don't think that the video drew very good conclusions about this is why, yes, many people are disgusted with the Republicans, so they become Democrats. And then people actually examine the Democratic Party and like, holy shit, you're really not that much better and functionally more or less equivalent. And then they do one of, a few possible things. They stay a Democrat and just sort of suck it up, or they drop out completely and just stop thinking about politics and become embittered. Or for people who are more dedicated to politics, they go sort of third party into like that toxic backwater of the Libertarian Green Alliance that just sort of round and round it goes and gets nowhere. Or you can go far left and join the international movement against imperialism by becoming a Marxist and completely remove yourself from the whole system. So, and I think that there is some constructive possibility there. That's why we do this channel. But I don't know, man. My recommendation is don't finish the video. That's why I'm not putting up the full comments. I just don't want to subject you to it. I recorded all this content, and honestly, it's not worth your time. And when I put things up on the channel, it's sort of an implicit endorsement from me that, hey, this is worth watching. It really wasn't worth watching. I mean, yeah, no to Tulsi Gabbard. Jimmy Dore was a clown for doing that, but I'm not going to sit here and show you like a half an hour of video about Tulsi Gabbard that probably has little to do with Jimmy Dore. Suffice to say, and I think that this is the real conclusion, is that, okay, no to the Republicans, no to the Democrats, yes, including the squad, which is a major hypocritical flaw of Reich-Wing Watch in making this video. That's really where they lost me, is defending the Democratic Party. Could have been a decent video otherwise, but when you start criticizing, Tulsi Gabbard exclusively, but you're not looking at your own situation, then fuck you. Then I'm not really interested in what you have to say. Also, the video was not well made in that it used spooky background music and just lots of suggestive clips rather than stating its premises and then citing evidence and so on, as I said. I'm tired. I'm going to turn the video off, but yeah, not really worth watching. This is why we need to not do this. Jimmy Dore, maybe he is getting money to go right wing. I don't know. I raised that question in the first comments. Is it just that he is kind of a dumb guy, as he says, and I believe him from watching him, who is trying to maintain an audience on a political show of like 900,000 subscribers and doesn't really know what he's doing? Or is somebody, giving him money to promote more of this right-wing shit? I don't know. It would have been interesting to watch a video about that, but that wasn't what this video was. So anyway, they didn't even mention the Boogaloo thing. I can't believe that. You're going to do a half an hour about Tulsi Gabbard. You're not going to cover the Boogaloo thing. Amazing. But anyway, there it is. Sorry I don't have more for you. There's a ton of content coming this weekend, though, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. If you have a comment or question, leave it below. We'll have a discussion. Thanks to the current patrons whose names are on the screen. And I'm going to forgo the usual salutations here because I'm freaking exhausted from watching that, and I have more to do. So thanks for what you are doing in the name of socialism, online and in real life. Keep it up, and we'll catch you in the next video.